Welcome to Parenting with Purpose. I'm Christian, and in today's video, this video is a bit different because I wanted to get some outside time, and I figure I can do two things at once. I can be outside and do the video, but I wanted to share something with the mom that is finding herself in a season where she's maybe struggling to speak up. I recently had a meeting with my son's school, and we were talking about his educational goals, and we were talking about different adjustments that he's needing in class to make sure that his time at the school is successful and that he's getting the education that he deserves. And later on, I was talking to my mom, and even one of the teachers had come up and given me a compliment on how well I advocated for my son. And this video is not to brag about me by no means at all, but I really want to point it back to Jesus. When one of the teachers came and complimented me, and then later on, as I was talking to my mom, later that night, she texted me and was just complimenting me on how proud she is of me for the mother that I've become, and how well I've advocated for my son. And honestly, I really had to think back on how it really is nobody but God. There was a time when, y'all, my arm is getting tired and I don't have the equipment to be holding this phone up, so I'm just gonna switch hands. But I couldn't help but think back to how God has really groomed me and formed me and got me to a place where, you know, he allowed me to be broken, and I'm not perfect. I haven't fully made it there, but I'm watching how God is growing me and maturing me. And I say that because there was a time when I struggled with speaking up for myself. So if I couldn't speak up for myself, it was hard for me to speak up for my son as well. And I am not really sure, and I guess I don't really want to go deep into why, but not until I have full revelation and clarity. But I want to share this with you because God has brought me a long way. And for the times that I didn't speak up, I end up being upset with myself. For the times that I didn't speak up, I became frustrated. There were times that I got frustrated. There were times that I was just upset at myself. And really it was because it was those thoughts of how could you, like, how did you not speak up for yourself? How did you not speak up for your son? And I had to learn all kinds of lessons in that. And so again, God does not give us, he does not condemn us, but he does teach us in those things. And so I really cannot take credit for what they saw. I can't. I got prayer and I called a good sis of mine, and I talked to my mom, and I prayed as well, and that's how I handled it. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about, do not worry about what you will say. When you will get there, I will give you the words. I will put the words in your mouth. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what the scripture is about. And God did just that. I wanted to make sure that I advocated for my son and spoke up for him in such a way that not only did he get the help that he needs, but that they will also hear a woman of God, that they will hear a woman who is about her business, but also that they see that I am a daughter of the King, and so that's exactly what happened in that meeting. And all praise and glory goes to God. I want to share this because there's a mom out there who you've been struggling with speaking up. And I'm here to let you know that God can do anything. There was a time in my life when I was so focused on working. I was so focused on working and climbing up the corporate ladder that my son came last. I spent so much energy at the job that by the time I came home, I really had nothing to give to my son. Like, I was giving my son the scraps, like the last of me, right? Which wasn't the best. And I had it wrong. And so now I understand, when you understand more, when you know better, you do better. And that's something that I'm very adamant about now, is speaking up for my son. And speaking up may mean also acknowledging that your child needs extra help. There's nothing wrong with that. They may need additional help in school to make sure that they meet their educational goals. They may need certain adjustments in the classroom setting to make sure that they reach their educational goals. Your life may look a bit different. You may have to provide your child with additional resources to make sure that they get the help that they need, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It does not mean that you did anything wrong. It doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you got the short end of the stick. It just simply means that your journey of parenting is going to look a bit different, and different isn't bad. Depending on how you look at it, parenting or having to parent differently is a gift. Everything from God is a gift. It's just all in how you look at it. And to be honest, my son, I started mentioning in my videos, I want to say earlier this year, I think it was, I had went to a New Year, a vision board party. That's what it was. I went to a vision board party, and that was my first time actually voicing that my son has autism. And it was from that moment that something in me broke. I had to acknowledge it and I had to voice it. And one of those things, in having to voice it, it helped me to really tune into, okay, now since I voiced it, what does that mean? What does that mean for me and my son? What does that mean for how I mother him now? What does that mean for his education? And who do I need to become in order to speak up and advocate for what he needs? Because there are some things kids don't always know what they need, and so that's why God has given us parents, because as children we don't always know what we need. And I had to become a different woman. I had to grow up. I've learned, take the focus off of me, take the weakness off of me. What I think I cannot do, God can, and so these are lessons that I'm learning. Y'all, flies are just coming my way. But who do you need to become in order to take care of your child? Who do you need to become to be that responsible mom? Who do you need to become to be the woman that God has called you to be the mother that he's calling you to be the advocate that he's calling you to be? You know, if it wasn't for, honestly, if it wasn't for me having to speak up for my son and acknowledging that he has autism, I honestly don't know if I would be speaking up at this point, even at this point in my life, just being transparent, because I was so broken, fearful, scared of saying the wrong thing, and for so long that I just quieted myself, and that is not what God calls us to. So yeah, my son having autism has been a gift, you know, and the way that I explain it to him is that he has a unique learning style. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him, but he has a unique learning style, and he sees things differently from the majority of the world, and that alone is a gift. You know, and so I just speak life into him, and that's really what it is. And that's the same way that I explain it to other people, you know, whether it be in his school, whether it be with, you know, doctors, whomever that I'm talking to. That's exactly how I explain it. My son has a unique learning style. It's a gift, and you know, that's just how I explain it to them. And to be able to get the resources that he needs, I first had to acknowledge it, and I first had to voice it. And we're making progress. I'm grateful to God, and I'm also grateful for the woman that he has created me to be. I'm proud of myself for the woman that I am becoming, speaking up for my son and speaking up for me, and realizing that, yeah, flies trying to go up my nose, and realizing that I am who God is calling me to be. It's a process. So I point it all back to God, but this is for that mom who you've been struggling to speak up. Maybe you've been struggling to acknowledge and voice that maybe your child does need some adjustments in his or her education. It's okay. It is absolutely okay. You are not alone. And with God, you can do all things. All things are possible. And if you just hang in there, go to God, cast all your cares on him, he is going to walk you step by step on what you need to do. And whatever it is that you need to say, he's going to give you those words. All right, so that's all I have for you in this video. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. And I hope you got something from this. I will see you all in the next video.